Today we're going to fit these wheel arch liners to the van. I've got one for the left and the right, of course. They go up under there. If I come to the front of the van, you can see some that I fitted these earlier on, and they've done a really brilliant job, so I'm quite pleased keeping all the muck off the nice new metalwork that I put in there. Okay, so we're going to get unpacked and sorted out, get the van jacked up, and then we'll be back in a minute. Righto then, we got the wheel off, and I've put down my portable workshop floor, so we're good there. And you can see got a nice space to work. I've got it up on that nice safe jack there, axle stand, and it's so it can't go anywhere. Notice there's a new slider unit that I've put on there before I took it into the MOT last time. This was all seized up the back here. You can buy these on the internet pretty cheap, so no problem there. Right, let's crack on then, be back in a moment. It's worth remembering that these things are really light, so they don't need a lot of holding up in there, but you've got to make sure they're firm so as they don't rattle and fall off as you're going down the motorway, sort of thing. All right, we're going to fix it, but we don't want to be drilling up through here. This section goes to the inside of the van. All right, this little bit here is okay because that's in the void. Okay, we can probably put a fixing in there and probably get a fixing in on this side somewhere, and then I'm going to put a little bracket that goes down and comes on here, which I'm going to make any moment. All right, so if we just chuck it into place, you can see more or less where it goes. All right, very lightweight. Okay, and we're going to make a bracket down there somewhere and get a fixing in on this position here, and possibly something over there, and you know what, that's going to hold it into place. I just made up this little bracket on my workbench here, a nice piece of metal out the side of my refrigerator, just right for the job. I guess you could buy a piece of metal like this down at the DIY anyway, so it's not worried. I've cleaned it all up, so now I'm going to dash a bit of primer on it before I start fitting it to the van. Right, I've got my little bracket made and in position, and I just use these couple of mole grips, as you can see, to hold it there, clamp it there. Well, I've pre-drilled it there and there. So what I'm going to do next is get this bad boy, which is way bigger than I need, and we're going to drill up through there. Obviously I'm going to need both hands, so I'm going to check back as soon as that's done. Yeah. Right, that's fitted then, guys, so that's looking ready to go. I use these little, I know you can quite see it with the camera there, these little self tappers. They're stainless steel, they've got a little drill bit on the end of them, but I pre-drill it anyway, and then just a little bit smaller, and then drive that on up through afterwards, so as it's nice and secure. Okay, excellent. So I'm going to whack a bit of spray on that now, because there's a couple of raw edges where I think so. Just spray it with some primer straight away. I'll give it a good old zap in. Some primer, lovely. Then we know that then we know that it's all protected. Right then, I think I've got it more or less into place as best I can. We'll have a look and see how we've got on. So if we bring it in here, you can see we've got that's the little bracket I made, and then basically just want a self tapper. See, I put a piece of metal under it, or you can use a washer. Self tapper in there, and then if I go across the other side, you can see that I got a self tapper in the other side here somewhere. There he is. Okay, now they're easy to put in. Okay, see this one? That's what I did. I just drilled one of those straight through, because it's only into like a body panel thickness, so it'll actually it'll drill itself straight through on that case, whereas on this part it was like 2 or 3 mil metal, so you need to pre-drill a hole there. Okay, so we're coming on now. I've got to trim it so as it follows the contours a bit better, and just put an edge in on it. Okay, right, we'll get on with that now then, shall we? Fitted some edge in onto it, There you go, you can see it's all edged up. And what I've used is this this stuff you put on the car doors to stop them chipping when you bash into the next door car in the car park. This little channel there, about 2mm, and inside there's some red plastic that you peel off once it's in place, and it's adhesive and it just sticks to the surface. A little bit fiddly, but it's okay, you know. There you go, that's all in place now. The edging's on, pretty happy with it. I guess you can buy, I mean, if you're a real sort of person who's doing the van ups for show and stuff like that, you could get some that fit inside the wheel arch altogether. But I quite like the fact, I'm not, so I just want the van for purpose and for going to music festivals and stuff, so I'm quite happy that it's got that extra bit of protection. I quite like the fact that it fits around the outside and stops the grit just chipping away at the arch there, and also it can't get in between there, which is a real rust spot. Sometime or other this wheel arch is going to come off and have a replacement put in anyway, so but I'm quite pleased with that, so we'll get the wheel back on now. Right then, I've got both sides of the vehicle finished at last. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. A little bit of trimming required here and there. I'd say it was fiddly, not impossible, but it's a fiddly job, and you've got to have a little bit of patience. Trim the plastic here and there and stretch it and clip it and make sure it stays clear of the wheels. But I think it's going to save on the metal work quite a bit, you know. So I'm quite pleased with that, and we'll keep an eye on it, try it throughout the winter and see how that gets on. Okay, see you next time.